Yes, sir.
Okay, the recording has started. Well, once again, good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to this edition of the Spiral of Wisdom. Namaskara. My name is Ramesh RK, and I'll be your host for today. And before we start off, may I request Swati to say the school prayer.
Good evening, everyone. O hidden light, vibrant in every atom. O hidden light, shining in every creature. O hidden love, embracing all in oneness. May each who feels himself as one with thee know he is also one with every other. Thank you.
Thank you, Swati. That was a very powerful prayer, a philosophical prayer that reminds us that we are that hidden light, vibrant in every atom. We are a soul, a spirit soul, having a human experience. So let us remember that as we transit from our busy day into our inner world. May all of us get the maximum value from the satsang. And to do so, let us connect with our inner guru on this Guruvara, our higher selves, so that we're all aware of the invisible connection that we have between each of us, and that we are seekers on the path to eventual ultimate self-realization. Please sit straight with your back, neck, and head aligned. And the key to this particular Guru Vandana is our emotion with all the love that we can muster. Think of your Ishtadeva, your Guruji, or our divine source. Chant this after me. Please take a nice deep breath and let go. Remembering that loved one and experiencing love in your heart. Chant this. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Observe the silence within, with all the joy in your heart. That connects us to our own higher self, which will connect us to the source. That will make the satsang the most effective satsang ever. Once again, welcome to this wonderful edition of the Spiral of Wisdom, the satsangs that were started by Ma Manize, the founder of the School of Ancient Wisdom, many moons ago. In continuation from a very nice satsang that we had last week, we will continue with Sri Veera Raghava Acharya Ji, who will again follow up on the anatomy of consciousness for the satsang. Over to you, Acharya Ji. And thank you once again for joining us. Namaskar. Yes, Acharya Ji, you may start.
Yes, I need screen sharing access. Thank you.
Yeah. Swati, I believe the screen sharing access is required.
Yeah, I have got it.
Ah, wonderful.
Okay.
Yes, we can see now. The alchemy of choice,
Yes.
part 2. Yes.
So, in the previous lecture, we discussed about how we have three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas, we called them. We said one is pertaining to peace, tranquility, and so on. The other pertains to passion. You feel energetic, you want to do something. That something may be good. It is not necessarily evil, but you are driven towards action. In the Bhagavad Gita, in the 4th chapter, Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, Karmani akarma yah pashyet. There is a very beautiful shloka. Karmanya karmaya pashyet, akarmani cha karmaya. Sa buddhiman manusheshu, sa yuktah kritsna karma kriti. He says, inside karma, one who sees akarma, and then he goes on, akarmani cha karmayaha. Inside akarma, one who sees karma. Now we all understand the word karma, at least to a very basic extent. Karma means action. Karma phala means fruits of action. We know that much, right?
Yes.
So how could there ever be inaction within action? Is it possible at all? But Krishna says, one who sees inaction within action and sees action within inaction, that person is the most intelligent. That person has done everything. How do we understand it? What is the underlying principle that he is trying to convey? When Adi Shankaracharya saw this verse, he very intelligently produced a commentary. Whoever produces a commentary has to face the challenge, right? You have to explain that opposites reside inside one another. How are you going to explain that? So Shankaracharya, being a genius, he said, look, it appears that there is some karma going on. It appears that you are this body. It appears that you're a human being. It appears that you're doing some action. But in reality, you are the Atman. This Atman does not have any action. And therefore, seeing inaction within action means knowing the real nature of the Atman. A very beautiful explanation. When Ramanujacharya, centuries later, now Ramanujacharya's aim is to revive devotion because people have forgotten humility, devotion, and so on. Times have changed. He is coming across the same verse. He has to write. How is he explaining? He says, don't take akarma to be inaction and get confused. If you think that inaction is inside action, every action is inaction. So why should I do anything? Let me just sit here doing nothing. Can I sit here doing nothing and then say I have attained moksha? I cannot. That would be invalid, even as per Shankaracharya. But there were people willing to do that. Now, how do you stop them? A person who says, I am anyway Brahman, no? I am anyway Atman. I am not the body. Why should I do anything at all? Whatever you are telling, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, they are three gunas associated with the body. I am beyond all of them. I am the Atman. Why should I care? That there is a great deal of difference between speaking spirituality and being spiritual, speaking philosophy and being philosophical, speaking about oneness and light and love and so on, and actually following that path, seeking that light. When you seek that light, in reality, that is when you would receive that real love, the light and love that were referred to in the prayer. So Ramanujacharya, he says, take it this way. Akarma means anything that is not action, correct? Knowledge is not action. Therefore, take akarma to mean knowledge. Akarma means knowledge. So inside every action, there is some hidden knowledge. You should see that knowledge. You should understand that knowledge. You should get that. Likewise, inside of every knowledge is an action. In anything that you know, how do you know? Your mind processes some information and you call it knowledge, correct? But for that, some action has to happen here in this realm. I went to a library. I opened a book. I read the book and I gained knowledge. So there is an underlying action. Is there or is there not? So knowledge does not come without any action, and action does not come without any knowledge. The two are totally connected to each other. Whenever we talk about consciousness, right? How do you define consciousness? How do you define a living being? When you talk about a virus, the scientist gets confused. The virus is living when it is on a living being. It is dead when it is on a dead being. What is this? The same virus, when it is on a granite stone, it is dead. But when it is on a human being, it is alive, simply because it multiplies. Some movement, the only movement shown by the virus is that it multiplies. But that movement is enough for the scientists to say, yes, the virus is a living creature. Now, everything that exists, we call them sentient. We say they have consciousness. This consciousness works at different levels for different creatures, right? When I go outside, I would see a dog, I would see a cow, I would see a cat, I would see a goat, I would see a human. They all have different levels at which their consciousness operates. Consciousness is consciousness only, but the level at which it operates is different for different people. So what benefit do we get by understanding the anatomy of consciousness? This is the second lecture, right? The second part of the series that was titled The Anatomy of Consciousness. What is it that is inside it? What is it that drives you to do something? Yes, I am taking a conscious decision. I am doing this, I am doing that. How am I able to do it? What is it that works within my mind? What all does my mind travel through before arriving at a decision? That is what we are discussing about. And therefore, in the previous lecture, we concluded by talking about a variety of emotions and mapping them to the three qualities, the three gunas. Now, we are moving forward. We are saying, since you know what is there, it's your time to decide. The decision is yours to make, not somebody else's. In Vedanta, there is a very big debate, at least there used to be 5,000 years ago. Do we have any kind of doership or not? Do we have free will or not? On one side, if I am following Dvaita, I might say, I am just a puppet in the hands of Bhagavan. The Advaiti might say, I don't have doership because I am the Atman and not the body. The body only does, the Atma doesn't do anything. On the other side, there would be a Dvaiti who says, no, you should do karma. Depending on that karma, Bhagavan will reward you. There would also be an Advaiti who would say, you have to do these things if you want to get realization. No, the last type of Advaiti is Shankaracharya himself. So, Shankaracharya said, even though Jagat is mithya, even though everything is Maya, illusion, you can't just stay idle. You have to do something. And what should you do? He said there are 4 sadhanas. He said there are 4 sadhanas. One of them is the desire for moksha. One of them is the intelligence to differentiate between the Atma and whatever is not the Atma. One of them is not becoming a slave of our senses, not being a slave of desire. Phala bhoga viraga. One of them is controlling all our senses. Now, 4 sadhanas were listed by Shankaracharya. It is called sadhana chatushtayam as a collective group. Now, in these 4, other than the desire for moksha, all the other 3, in fact, even the desire for moksha, for it to be pure and for it to be retained at all points of time, you really need what is called sattva guna. So you need sattva guna if you want to elevate your inner nature. Of course, when Shankaracharya himself has said it, what be said about Ramanujacharya and Madhvacharya, for whom the world is real? Naturally, they also said you should develop sattva guna. With that, you should control your senses. Controlling your senses will in turn make you more sattvic. So it has been said that the one who is blessed by Vishnu, it is said in Mahabharata, one who sees Madhusudana and is blessed by him at the time of birth. I don't remember whether I saw him at my time of birth. Probably nobody would. But whoever is seen by him, let us say, oh wait, he sees everybody. How can we say that? We can't say either. Yet, the shloka in Mahabharata says, one who is seen by Madhusudana, that is, one who is blessed by Madhusudana, how would he be? Satvikaha. He would be sattvic. Vijñeyaha. He would have special knowledge. What is that special knowledge? Knowledge of the Atma. Satvika satu vijñeyaha savai mokshartha chintakaha. That person thinks about moksha. Look at it. Vijñaya makes him a person who distinguishes between Atma and Anatma. Correct? Mokshartha chintaka means mumukshu. 2 of the 4 sadhanas of Shankaracharya are done there. What about the remaining 2? He said you should learn to control your senses. You should not be a slave of desires. Right? That is covered under the word sattvika. The sattvic person gets to control the mind, control the senses. So you need this sattva guna to elevate yourself, to elevate your inner nature, to attain that final freedom from this bondage of world, right? This bondage. How is it? Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. There is birth, there is death. After that, you're born again, you live again, you die again. You're born again, you live again, you die again. Punarapi janani jathare shayanam. Again and again, you enter a mother's womb and stay inside that. And you sleep there. Then you get out. It's very hard to cross this cycle of births and deaths. But if you surrender to that Murari, Bhagavan, you can get past. That is the teaching of Bhaja Govinda. That is the teaching of the anatomy of consciousness as well. But how to do it? Saying is very easy. To do it, you need some amount of knowledge, right? We said Vijñeyaha. He should have Vishesha Jnana. He should have special knowledge. What kind of knowledge? Knowledge about the Atma. Okay, I am the Atma. Okay, I've said I am the Atma. So what? Nothing changed. Instead of calling myself Veera Raghava, I have called myself Atma. What is the big deal? I should know what the Atma is. I should know what the body is. I should know how they interact with each other. I should know how my mind is working. Only then would I be able to walk the path towards freedom. This is the intent. And that's what we have been trying to cover in as short a time span as possible. This is a PDF, so I guess it would be easy to scroll. So you have a progressive ladder of evolution. Of course, this time it is not looking as visually appealing as the previous lecture, but let us just understand the concept and move on. Let us not become slaves of visually appealing eye candy. Let us control our eyes as well. So there is a progressive ladder of evolution. Krishna says everybody has all the three qualities, but at any given point of time, only one of them would be dominating. If for the majority of time, a specific quality out of these three is dominating you, you would be called by that attribute's name. For example, I have sattva, I have rajas, I have tamas. I have all the three. Sometimes I feel lazy. Sometimes I feel like, yes, I should do more work, more work, more work. Sometimes I would feel very peaceful. I would be praying. Now, suppose for most of the time in my life, I am under the mode of tamas. There is confusion, laziness, or evil mindset. That these are what constitute tamas, right? I would be called a tamasika person. In the same Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, right? Satviki rajasi chaiva tamasi cheti tam shrunu sattvanurupa sarvasya shraddha bhavati bharata. The 17th chapter is so beautiful. See the first few verses there. They would teach you the differences between the sattvic person, rajasic person, and tamasic person, who you would get inclined towards. So we need to lift ourselves, right? I also have tamo guna. What should I do? I should get out of it. I have confusion. What should I do? I should get out of confusion. How do you get out of confusion? Through knowledge. Right? At the end of the day, you have only two things. One is knowledge, one is action. Either knowledge will free you, like the truth would set you free, or you would do certain action that would set you free. That's all there is. Even Advaita, Vishishta, Advaita, Advaita, they are divided on the same basis. Knowledge will give you freedom, says Advaita. Action will give you freedom, says Vishishta, Advaita, and Dvaita. Action coupled with knowledge. Advaita says for that knowledge you need action. Dvaita says for that action you need knowledge. That is why they are different. At the end of the day, you need action, you need knowledge. You cannot escape. So action is what removes inertia. Inertia, what is inertia? It pulls you back, right? Like if you're traveling in a particular direction, it will make you to travel more there. Like if you're traveling in a bus or a train and it has suddenly stopped, you would move forward. Why? Because of inertia. So inertia means we are under the control of something else. We are not in our control. Our minds are not controlled by us. That is what is meant by inertia. Therefore, there is a fundamental confusion of doership. Am I really doing it? The answer is yes, I am. The problem is that I am doing things without understanding them properly. I'm getting angry, I'm shouting, I'm arguing over an email. You know, there was an email that I sent very peacefully to a lady. She responded thinking that she is being accused of something. But the way she responded was very defensive. How could you speak in this way? How could you say it this way? Do you know who you are? Do you know who I am? That attitude. Immediately, you have lost control of your mind. Let us say I respond to her. Again, since I have received a rude email, oh, you're not the only one who knows to argue. You're not the only one who knows to say how great you are and how horrible the others are. Let me do it. Let me take it up. Let me do it better than you. I will show you who I am. If I respond in that way, what would really be happening? Is that spiritual elevation? That is neither spiritual elevation, nor mental elevation, nor physical elevation. It is not elevation of any kind. So, how should a problem be resolved? Let us say I'm working. I have sent an email. The lady hasn't understood the email. I have to very politely clarify. This is what I am talking about. This is my query. Kindly answer this. If she understands, well and good. There may be cases where they don't understand, but we should try our very best, right? Just because they cannot control their minds or just because they cannot understand us, we cannot be like them. We have to follow a simple path. Our path is, if I am in tamas, I will move up to rajas. From rajas, I will move to sattva. I can't stay at rajas. Rajas is not a stop. You know, it's like the train would come, it would go past the stop, but it would not really stop at that station. Express trains do that, right? They pass through several railway stations, but they stop only at a few. So where should I stop? I should stop at sattva. And then from sattva, I should elevate myself. So I should build more and more and more sattva, which would drive me automatically. Staying in sattva is like refueling myself. I'm fueling my car with pure fuel. That pure fuel would take me towards freedom. Satvika satu vigneya savai moksha artha chintaka. The sattvic person thinks about moksha. The sattvic person thinks about elevation. Oh, wait. If only the sattvic person thinks about elevation, what about the others? The rajasic person wouldn't think about elevation. Then when will he ever become sattvic? The tamasic person will never think about elevation. Would he become even rajasic? At least rajasic. How do you explain this? It's very simple. We have already answered it. We said everybody has all the three gunas. And it's only based on what they are dominated by that we address them. So maybe I have 70% tamas, 25% rajas, but I would still have 5% sattva. When that 5% gets used, I would get elevated. This is how we should move. So you need action to break laziness. You need to take action to improve yourself. I need to take action, proper steps to become physically healthy. You know, early in the morning, there's a beautiful garden outside my house. It's beautiful, it's large, it's well maintained, but I don't go there to walk. Right below my building, there is a gym. In the evenings, I could go there, but I don't go. I'm lazy. I'm just sitting on the couch doing nothing. What should I do? Okay, maybe the gym costs money, but at least the garden is good, right? So I need that. I should take action. If I have bad qualities, who can change me? Others can tell me that I have a bad quality. You can tell me, Veera Raghava, you are late for the class. You are supposed to have started it at 6:30, no matter what. If the internet is not working, you should have solved it beforehand. How could you be late? We missed 5 minutes because of you. You could say that, but could you really force me to come at 6:30 p.m. IST? You cannot. That will have to be done by me. So, action is necessary to break inaction. Rajas is necessary to break tamas. Tamasic people do not jump to sattva just like that. It is very difficult. And then you slowly start controlling your mind, control your physical senses, control your mental senses. That would make you sattvic. From a position of whatever I say is right, you would move to a position of how can I help that person? How can I make that person's life better? Maybe this lady had a lot of problems at home. Maybe she is unwell. Maybe she has a lot of other problems. I don't know. And therefore, she is misunderstanding me. Therefore, let me not be rude to her. Let me be polite. When would I think it? I would think that way when I'm in the mode of sattva. That is the aim, right? So, we should constantly ask ourselves, which mode are we in? Which mode are we in? And we should do a check, cross check. Like these days we have AI. I give ChatGPT a task. After giving ChatGPT the task, I tell it, grade yourself on a scale of 10. Assume all the necessary parameters, grade yourself and tell me if you can improvise. It would automatically tell me, here I scored 7, here I scored 9, here I scored only 3. Let me improve myself. ChatGPT, which we call as artificial intelligence, is able to do it. Then why can't we? We should also be able to do it, right? So let us introspect. As we introspect, look into ourselves. How are we behaving? What are we really doing? Is this kind of behavior really necessary? Is it really going to help us? We should ask those questions. Back in the day, I don't know about the textbooks of today, but back when I was in school, our textbooks would have Gandhi's talisman, where Gandhi would have said, when you are feeling very frustrated, when you're feeling very angry, about to burst, think about the most suffering person in the world. Think about the poorest person, the most hungry person, the hungriest person. He doesn't have food, he doesn't have money. Now think, if you were in his position and you were to behave this way, would it help him in any way? It wouldn't, right? This kind of behavior of yours, it would never help. He gave that as a framework to teach humility. Instead of directly saying, be humble, he said, I will give you a talisman. Think about it this way. So, why did they keep it in our textbooks? To teach moral values to children. A great thing. To help them to check whether they are in the mode of tamas and lift them up. That was the aim. So, how does one cultivate and nurture these gunas? There is a very famous statement in the Veda. Ahara shuddhau sattva shuddhihi. We have all heard this, right? Ahara shuddhau sattva shuddhihi. Sattva shuddhau dhruva smritihi. Smrti lambe sarva granthinam vipramokshaha. Ahara shuddhau sattva shuddhihi. When your food is pure, you get sattva guna. What is pure food? Krishna discusses in Bhagavad Gita. You should understand. If you haven't gone through the Bhagavad Gita, no problem. Just go through this table. Food that is harmful for you, if you overeat, even good food might become poisonous. Or if it is stale, decaying, completely processed with all sorts of chemicals. I had this discussion once. I asked a person, a person was buying a can of Coke. I asked him, why do you drink this? You just finished a workout. You're literally walking with a gym bag and you're drinking a Coke. How is this fair? You're getting so many calories from this. There is so much sugar in Coke. All your exercise would go wasted. That person was like, no, it wouldn't. Do you know why? This has 0 calories. So he showed me. I don't remember the name of the product, but it says it has 0 calories. I thought, okay, fine, maybe I'm living in the old world. The world has progressed. Afterwards, I returned home and I Googled the product. To my surprise, I saw that it had a lot more chemicals than the older one. So would you, Diet Coke, that's what they call it. Thank you for that. So do you wish to suffer with excessive sugar or do you wish to suffer with excessive chemicals? The choice is yours. The thing is, at times we are driven to do it, right? Oh, I feel like having a Coke, let me have it. What is driving our mind there? We are not driving it. Our passion, our desire, that is what is driving us. So there are items that are very clearly harmful for us. Everybody knows, right? Smoking causes cancer. Smoking kills. They start every movie with that. And in every single movie, even the protagonist would be smoking. Yeah, they might be killing the villain, but they're also killing themselves, right? By smoking. What kind of example are they setting? Liquor drinking is injurious to health. Once, this famous actor, Rajnikant, he gave a speech. He said, I'm not asking you to stop drinking. At least drink in moderation. Can't you drink in moderation? He asked. He said, please drink in moderation. Please don't drink too much. Excessive use of anything is bad. My health is so poor because I have smoked too much in my younger days. Please don't smoke. He gave himself as an example to the large audience there. Such a great thing to do. But why is it that people are driven to smoke? Addiction. Addiction. Drinking. Addiction, right? A person who does not have control gets controlled. There are only 2 ways. Either you control or you get controlled. So you have this problem which you need to get out of. No matter what you eat in moderation. Eat fresh food, clean food. Try to avoid processed food. That's what the doctors say, right? That's what the nutritionists say. When they say it, they will say, eat nutritionist food. Here's your bill, 50,000. When we say it is for free. That's the only difference. Just kidding, but jokes aside, we should know how to eat. Okay. We should know how to control our speech. Thoughts are very difficult to control. Thoughts are faster than even light. Yudhishthira says in Yaksha Prashna in Mahabharata, thoughts are faster than the wind. They are hard to catch. That is true. But where do you begin? Maybe I begin with words because words are results of thoughts. That are communicated. They travel across to another person and they might react. Maybe instead of speaking in a very rude way, I should be polite, right? Maybe instead of dodging questions, I should stay and answer. Maybe instead of using very ambiguous words and confusing you, I should use clear words. I should be clear, I should be understandable. My words should make sense. And they should be truthful, they should be polite. Satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat. Na bruyat satyam apriyam. Priyam cha nanrutam bruyat. Esha dharma sanatanaha. Very famous shloka. Right? Satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat. Speak the truth and speak kindly. That is what is written, true kind. What is the third word? Useful. Hita. You should have Satya, you should have Priya, you should also have Hita. Something that is actually good should come out of my speech. Vibhishana gave such a kind of advice to Ravana, politely. But Ravana gave a very angry response. A very angry response and an untrue response. How was Ravana's reply? Ravana said, "You are my relative, you are my brother, therefore you seek my throne, and therefore you're saying that I will lose the battle with Rama." What nonsense is this? Was it truthful? No. Was it kind? No. Was it useful in any way? No. That is not how we should be. We should be sattvic, right? So we should understand, we should think about it. What kind of food are we eating? What kind of words are we using? How is our mind working? Right? We should think about that. What is it that motivates us? Is there something that motivates us? Something at all that motivates us? There are plenty of people who are motivated by nothing. They say, I have zero motivation. Why should I do anything? Everything is useless anyway. Whole world is Maya anyway. Why should I do anything? The whole world is temporary anyway. Why should I do anything? I am a puppet of Bhagavan anyway. Why should I do anything? In this manner, there are plenty of people who give excuses. Many of them give excuses to their own minds. Then there are people who believe in proper reward and punishment system. No pain, no gain, right? If I want to build muscle, I should do this difficult exercise. I should lift more weight. I should run more to burn more calories. Then there is the mode of sattva, where whatever you are thinking, yes, you are still doing actions. You are still having knowledge, but it is aligned with dharma. Maybe, yes, I am doing exercise for my own body, but I also help another person to do their exercise. A very simple thing, right? You go to a gym, you find many people doing exercise. You are taking care of yourself properly. Very good. Once you start helping others as well, that is where you will get sattva. So it's very important. Look at ChatGPT, which generated today's PDF. It gives us a pedagogical point. Put tamas in dead food, toxic media, dull speech. About dead food, we have already discussed. Toxic media, oh my God, everybody knows about it. There are TV channels where people keep shouting for an entire hour, and they still, after the entire discussion, they are still at the same point where they began. An ideal group discussion is one in which people who are right convince those who are wrong, and everybody arrives at a common conclusion to do something better. They arrive at a common conclusion. They say, yes, this is the truth. Therefore, let us do this. That is something that you never see on the news channels, right? Ever wondered why? Take that as homework. Dull speech we have already covered, right? So these are the cases where we suffer. There's a question from Harini ji. I'll address it after completing the lecture. So we should know where we stand, how we should stand, and everything. So we should act. There is no other way. We have to act. We have to take the effort. Remember, I said at the beginning of the lecture that there was a debate on whether we really have control or not. There are many people who say, I am not the doer. Well, we are the doers. Karta Shastrarthavatvat. There is a Vedanta Sutra. Vyasa says, yes, you are a doer. Why? Because if you are not a doer, the entirety of scriptures would go waste. Who is the scripture for? If you are just a puppet with no free will, if you are a person who, in spite of receiving good advice, cannot improve yourself, then what is the advice for? If the advice exists and the advice is divine, the advice should be valid. For the advice to be valid, you have to have free will. So Vyasa says, no, the jivas are also kartas. There is no doubt. You are the doer. You should only do it. Realization will not come to you from somewhere. One fine day, like a Swiggy or a Zomato guy, it's not going to knock your door. You have to seek, right? You have to take the action. So when you enter this action, you have to look at the karma. Which karma? Action is of two types, right? Action, we call it as karma. Karma, we say it is punya karma, good deed, and papa karma, bad deed. So a person who is in the mode of tamas would blindly do things, very blindly, no thought. Like the, what are they? Orcs, I guess, which are controlled by Sauron in the Lord of the Rings. They take action, yes. They are a very powerful army, yes. But they are not intelligent enough. They are not thinking clearly. They are not intelligent enough. You rise from there. You take the effort. But people who take efforts, they naturally seek something. It is a fundamental nature to seek a result for whatever you do. As a matter of fact, whatever an intelligent person does would be out of the seeking of a reward or a benefit. What kind of benefit it is what we have to discuss. Now, this benefit, if it is materialistic, it means you are in the mode of rajas. This would give me 1 lakh. This would give me 1,000. This would give me promotion. This would give me a lot of fan following. All of these are rajasic. This would help the world. This is said by the scripture. Whatever the scripture says is dharma, right? Vedo khilo dharma moolam, the dharma shastra. The dharma shastra, the shastra which came to teach dharma, it said the Veda is in its entirety dharma. You go refer to the Veda, then you come here. I have nothing. Whatever I have is already there inside the Veda. Veda pranihito dharma. In Srimad Bhagavatam we have. Whatever the Veda has said, it is dharma. The Veda has said it. Veda says, Satyam Vada, speak the truth. Dharmam chara, walk on the path of dharma. Walk on the path that sustains the entire universe. So it is right, therefore I do it. And I will do it well. Why will I do it well? Because it has to be done well. It is my duty. I am not doing it well because I seek some money or power or appreciation. I do it well because it has to be done well. In Vishishtadvaita, we go one level slightly beyond. It has to be done well because that would please Bhagavan. Whatever is done to please Bhagavan. From there, we go one level higher. If we say, I am doing this to please Bhagavan, I am doing this to please Bhagavan, we might get ego. To remove that ego, we say, Bhagavan himself is making me to do this to please Bhagavan. That is the kind of attitude that we should build. So, the golden cage of sattva, there is punya, there is papa. The Alvar said that even punya karma is like a shackle. It's just that it's a golden shackle. What is the point of having gold if it's a golden shackle? You are still a prisoner. You should understand that. So, if you are good, that's not enough. I'm a spiritual person. I'm very spiritual. I'm very spiritual. I like spiritual people. Are you a spiritual person? Oh, that's nice. What work do you do? Okay. How much do you earn? Oh, you earn so less. Let's connect later. I think I'm getting a call. I guess you understood what I was trying to do. I was trying to imitate a conversation. A person who calls themselves spiritual, yet is very materialistic. Such a person cannot be called spiritual. We know that. The next step is a person who is actually spiritual. This actually spiritual person still has a trap. We just discussed about it, right? I am spiritual. I am spiritual. I am doing this. I am doing that. We should get out of that. Why? Because Krishna has said, Karmanyavadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. You have adhikara over the doership. Okay, I have adhikara over the doership, right? So I am the doer, I am the doer, I am the doer. Let me get that ego. Therefore, in the 18th chapter, Krishna says, Sarvadharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam raja. Bhagavad Ramanuja, while commenting on that shloka, he says, you should renounce all doership, renounce all sense of doership and surrender to Krishna. Renounce all sense of doership and surrender to Krishna. Aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami. Then Krishna will grant you liberation. So the path towards liberation, towards freedom, is relinquishing doership, even while doing good. I donate 20 crore, 30 crore every month. If I keep saying that way, I will automatically get ego. Yes, I am donating, but I'm also getting ego, right? That ego is not good. So, Sattva Guna, as it grows, it helps one to understand themselves better. There is a mirror. I try to look at it. When I am tamasic, it doesn't even look like a mirror. It just looks like a wall. When I'm rajasic, I'm able to see that it is a mirror, but I cannot see my reflection properly. When there is sattva guna, as sattva guna increases more and more, the mirror would get polished. What is important is understanding the light that the mirror reflects. What am I seeing in the mirror? Liberation is not delving into the image. Liberation is an understanding what is the light that the mirror is reflecting. This is very important. Apply this in Advaita, it will work. Apply this in Dvaita, it will still work. Apply it in Vishishta Advaita, it will work. It works across Vedanta. So this is what our goal should be. There is a word in Sanskrit called nirguna. This word nirguna, what does it mean? We had a person discussing with us in the previous session. They said, shouldn't we have none of the three gunas? Isn't that nirgunatva? Well, technically, when we get into the technicalities of the word, nirguna means gunatita. Gunatita means beyond the gunas. Beyond the three gunas. That's what it means. Okay. Beyond the three gunas. Now, how do you understand something that is beyond the three gunas? See this image. There are gunas, right? There is sattva, rajas, tamas, and a mixture of all of them. They are gunas. Beyond those gunas, you get out of them and you become a witness. You are able to see them, but you are not bound by them. You are able to see this mixture of sattva, rajas, tamas, this bigger circle, but you are not there. That is gunatita. Therefore, Shankaracharya said, nirguna means void of gunas. Bhagavad Ramanuja said, nirguna means beyond the gunas, let it remain that way. It makes sense because the gunas pollute you due to bad qualities existing in the gunas, and the bad qualities exist in rajas and tamas. Therefore, when you get out of this trigunya, when you go beyond it, you would have Shuddha Sattva. That is the state of moksha. This term Shuddha Sattva was not coined by Bhagavad Ramanuja. It already exists. It is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavata. Whatever is there in the scripture has only been presented. So, Lord Krishna, in Bhagavad Gita, we have cited Bhagavad Gita for so much. Why not cite it again? Talking about the three gunas, Krishna says that a person who is able to see, when the seer, who is the seer? One who sees, right? So first you should develop the ability to see. It is very important. When this seer perceives no worker other than the three gunas, what does it mean? When a person realizes that these three gunas are the ones that are driving him, and knows that which is higher than the gunas, there is a state that is higher than this. There is a much, much superior state of existence. There is a superior being. I should be there. Why am I here? Correct? So, a person who understands that would be able to get elevated. So, ultimately, you need to see the gunas. You need to see through the gunas, and you need to get beyond the gunas. That is the way by which one can. What do you mean when he says enters into my being? What does that even mean? Only the person who is able to see through these gunas and realizes that there is something superior to all of them. There is something superior, because these are the three modes of material nature. There is something that is not materialistic. There is something divine. That divinity can be attained only when you recognize that there is something superior to these. Therefore, while explaining this shloka, Bhagavad Ramanuja says, when you eat food that is sattvic, we already discussed it, right? Healthy things, those that are good for us, and performing actions without the feeling of doership, thinking that this is done only for the satisfaction of the Supreme Being. In that way, we are relinquishing our ego. When we behave this way, Rajoguna and Tamoguna will decrease more and more until they get completely dissolved. And when a person is able to do that much, they would realize that they are not the doer, but the observer. They are the witness. This is very important. I am a witness. I am a witness to this grand scheme of things. This grand scheme of things with Paramatma at the center. He is there inside every single being. Paramatma shouldn't be seen as, oh, he is there outside my house, so far, far away. Far, far away in some distant heaven, there is Paramatma. No, he is inside of me. He is inside of you. He is inside everyone. He is everywhere. When would I be able to witness it? When I am eliminating Rajas and Tamas, I would be able to realize it as it is. He is everywhere in creation. When you get that realization, you get a level of consciousness that is similar to that of the Supreme Being that we are referring to. There, you would get free from karma, like how Krishna said, Namam karmani limpanti. You would also be able to say. There, you would be free from the grasp of the three gunas, because their area of jurisdiction is materialistic. So, finally, you would be able to attain the ultimate liberation. This is the explanation of the 19th verse of the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, given by Bhagavad Ramanuja. Of course, his words are much deeper, but due to the economy of time, we are closing it there. So, to conclude, what do we have to say? Very simple. Philosophy is not some armchair discussion for coffee drinkers. That is not what we are doing. We discuss wisdom, philosophy, and so on, so that people could get benefited from it. Things that are learned must be inculcated. How do you inculcate it? Pause for a minute. Ask yourself, which guna is dominating me? When should I do it? Should I do it at every moment? Let me keep asking myself 24/7 which guna. No. That itself is bad. That is a sign of lack of confidence and lack of control. Whenever you're in stress, whenever you have tension, whenever you're extremely angry, at that moment, take a pause, take a deep breath. Ask yourself which mode you are in. Ask yourself which mode you should be in. Ask yourself how to be in that mode of sattva. And then, as you slowly exhale the air, you would have the solution. You would become a better person. A very, very, very simple thing that you can do, right? This is the easiest thing. You don't have to climb 7 hills. You don't have to cross 7 seas. Anybody can do this. And then try to identify the patterns in your body. Try to identify your patterns of functioning. Use that. Learn what is driving you. If you realize that certain things make you angry, try to cool down. Every now and then, try to sit in silence. Try to do some simple form of breathing exercise, yoga. You know, you have the school of ancient wisdom. They teach yoga. Then, finally, become the observer. Realize that whatever you are doing is done because it should be done to please the Supreme. The Supreme is pleased when you do the perfect thing. What does it mean to please the Supreme Being? Being perfect, that's all. So, you have to keep practicing. Keep practicing. Only then you would be able to get closer and closer to freedom. With that, I conclude today's lecture. There are 2 questions already in the chat section. Let me go through them and answer. In the meantime, if there are more questions, please feel free to ask. So the first question says, generally, we say sattvic food is vegetarian, but still, we can see pure vegetarian people are also being more tamasic and rajasic. In such cases, how can we control? Let me give you an answer. As a matter of fact, just a few days back, there was a video released by a lady. In that video, she says, people who eat onion and garlic are fine, but people who avoid onion and garlic, those are the people who don't have control of their minds. Those are the people who act in a very bad way. Those are the most evil people on earth. We cannot generalize and conclude about people that way. Okay. What you are made up of is not just the food that you are eating today. Remember this. The scientists would, of course, say your brain is made up of nutrients, your nerves are made up of nutrients. Yes, but where are the nutrients coming from? They are not the nutrients of today. You were born with the cells of your mother, the nutrients consumed by your mother, and you kept consuming food from the time you were a baby till today. You have consumed food, therefore you're alive. Correct? There are people who have lived as vegetarians for 80 years and still not had mental control, still not had a great character. Where is it that they are failing? The answer is that food is just a beginning point. Having good food, healthy food, is just a beginning point. It's a starting point. It is not the ending point. I eat good food. I eat sattvic food. Why don't I have moksha? I can't ask that question because it is just a starting point. After that, you should understand there is something called consciousness. There is something called the anatomy of consciousness. There is sattva, rajas, tamas. Oh, I'm moving in the way of tamas. Let me drive myself towards sattva. So you need knowledge. You need action. When there is only food, no knowledge and no action, you cannot have the correct result. Okay. So, yes, eating healthy is very necessary, very much necessary when I'm going for an exam. Let us say I have a competitive exam. I have to eat well so that I don't feel hungry, I don't lose energy, I don't feel dizzy while giving the exam. There's no doubt. But I need to study. And I should actually write the exam. Just because I had great food, If I neither study nor write the exam, what would happen? Please think about that. Secondly,
there is another question by Janet.
Yeah, there is a question by Janet, and there is one more question by Harini. So, if I'm doing, let me read out the question. If I'm doing something materialistic for my selfish and material benefit, which will ultimately have to do in life, then how can it be for the pleasure of the Supreme? Of course, it cannot be. If you're doing something materialistic for your own selfish reason, it cannot be for the pleasure of the Supreme. That's the whole point. Get out of that selfishness. Get out of that selfishness. Do things that are necessary in life. Yes, do things that are necessary in life. See, even eating food is necessary in life. You have to eat food. There is no doubt about it. You have to eat healthy food. Healthy food at times is bitter, not that tasty, not that great. Might be great to look at, but not great when you taste it, right? But of course, there are some healthy foods which are also quite good. You can relish them. The point is, you could do anything and everything, no matter what you do. When you have in yourself a feeling of devotion, when you have in yourself a feeling of humility, then yes, I am eating this for myself. You will not think that way. You will think, I'm eating this so that it would sustain me, so that I would do something to improve everything. I would do something sattvic, and then I would improve that sattva. I would take steps to surrender to Bhagavan and ultimately attain moksha. The highest person, the highest state of existence, the final goal. When you think about it, Krishna says, Mad bhakto bhava, mad yaji bhava, mamaiva namaskuru. He says, so do things for him. Think of Krishna. Think you're doing for him. I'm eating this so that I can attain the abode of Krishna. I'm eating this so that I can realize the supreme truth that Krishna has said. Think about it that way. You can do anything and everything, as long as it is dharmic, of course. Moving on to the third question. If the three gunas are governing our indriyas and our manas, should we start to practice controlling our gunas first or our indriyas and manas first? Well, guess what, Harini ji? The answer is that you control your gunas by controlling your indriyas and manas. We said, eat healthy food. Simple example, right? Based on the question you asked before. We'll stick to the same example. So how do you control your guna? If the guna is to eat unhealthy food, you control your tongue. The tongue is an indriya, right? The tongue is associated with an indriya. At the end of the day, the tongue is associated with an indriya. What about the mind? The mind is also like that. You have to control your mind. For controlling your mind, you should know about the gunas. You should know in which guna your mind should operate. Guna is not like mind, okay? Mind is a facility inside you. Indriya is a facility inside you. Guna is not a facility. Guna is a quality, an attribute, a level, a mode. So your mind and your organs should be in the mode of sattva guna. That is how you should take it. Is that understood? How not to be lazy? Well, you should think, what is it that makes you... So there are motivators and demotivators for everything. Okay. So something motivates you to be lazy and something demotivates you from doing action. Both of them are working. Try finding what is it that makes you lazy And what is it that is taking you away from performing action? Start there. When you start there, you will understand. In the case of most people, they would be like, oh, should I really get up? Should I really cook food? Let me just order from outside. Or should I really go outside? It's raining. Let me just call my friend instead of meeting him. Should I go to the temple? Let me just open this app and do this tap, tap, tap. It will say puja done. You got 5 karma points. You know, you can earn karma points, guna points, everything if it's on a mobile app. So there are people who are like that. We cannot blame them. We cannot hate them. But we could tell them that the experience, the long time benefit of actually getting up and going to the temple is way more than what they can imagine. Definitely more than what they are seeing on the mobile phone. It is possible for me to book a puja in any major temple by using a mobile app. Technology has grown that much. They would really do the puja. They would even send me the videos. But it would never be able to match the experience that I get when I'm there seeing the puja live. Right? So what is it that you are missing out on by being lazy? Think about that. Think about what you are missing by being lazy. That would help you. Moving on to the next question regarding the food. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that whoever eats without offering food to me, he eats sins, Arjuna. That is not to be taken literally. It means when you offer food to Bhagavan, you are relinquishing doership. It is for Bhagavan, right? You are doing Krishna Arpana. Therefore, you are relinquishing doership. It is for him, it is not for me. If you think it is for me, it is for me, it is for me, that will give you ahankara mamakara. That will imply that you will remain getting punya and papa, good and bad karma. If you want to get out of that karma, what should you do? You should relinquish doership. It is called karma phala tyaga. That's what you should do. So, Krishna does not mean that you are eating sins literally. Okay, don't take it that way. If you eat something different by offering to Bhagavan, see, if you are a devotee, you should offer those things that Bhagavan likes. If I like somebody and that somebody has to be given something by me, some food by me, they are visiting my home, what would I give them? I would give them something they like, right? I cannot give anything and everything to them. And just because, they are my friend, they are polite to me, they will say, okay, no matter what you give, we will eat. They are my friends, they will not speak back. But does it mean I can give whatever I want to them? Think about it. And then replace friend with Bhagavan. You will get the answer. Okay, there's no more question.
Yes. Yep. Thank you so much, Acharya Ji. If there's any more questions, please do ask. We're in the last part of the question answer session. Well, I have a question, Acharya Ji. The continuation of what we discussed last week, which you said you will address this week. That if there are 3 modes of nature, and we are all in different, and we need to also be in different modes during the day for different kind of activity. For rest, we need to be in predominantly tamas state. When we get into action, we need to be predominantly in the rajas state. But that should be guided by sattva. So overall, at least if we aim to be in a sattvic framework, then we get guided to move out of the influence gradually of the gunas. So the question here is, what really, when we are in that Shuddha Sattva mode, or rather, do we enter the Shuddha Sattva mode by a constant effort to be in Sataguna, and then we develop that Daiva Guna or the Daiva Balam that takes us beyond into this Shuddha Tattva. How does that happen? Is it that is a very subtle occurrence, isn't it? How does that really happen? And how do we know that we are in that state?
Excellent question. See, Shuddha Sattva as a state of existence is non-different from the state of moksha. Let us understand this clearly. We said we should reach Shuddha Sattva. We said we should attain moksha. We meant the same thing in both cases. Shuddha Sattva is a state where, due to the absence of rajas and tamas, it can never get polluted. It is pure. By definition, it is pure, right? Once you reach that purity would be eternal. But how do you reach that purity? You can't. You're starting with a mixture and it is so well mixed. This very minute I'm speaking with you, the next second my stomach pains because I'm hungry. I haven't eaten since 8 hours. Oh, I'm so hungry. Why is he asking me this question right now? Can't he ask later? Can't he ask next week? What happened? Satvik suddenly moved away, right? So it is so well mixed within us that we are not able to exercise sattva properly, even when we want to. Shuddha sattva, as defined in the scriptures, is the state of existence that you would get when you attain moksha. Bhagavan is described that way. The Saguna Brahman that you talk about in Advaita, right? He is described that way as being of Shuddha sattva. If he has a body, how would the body be Shuddha sattva? How would he be Shuddha sattva? Shuddha sattva is the ultimate state of existence itself.
Right. So that means you are in a state of detached equipoise, and you are in a state where you can literally observe yourself, and therefore you are
observe yourself. You have become see, there are times when we get to observe, but it is temporary. We suddenly move back. Okay. If you are able to reach the stage of the observer permanently, that is where you are called a mukta, where you have attained mukti, the freedom, right? You attain freedom from that three gunas. Let me go up in the slide. This one, right? So you're no longer inside that circle. You have gone outside. You're an observer now. You're a witness now. And you're not going to get pulled back into it. That is the state of moksha.
okay. The ones who are very advanced are able to sustain this state.
Yes.
So for most of us, we keep visiting it and then we come away.
Yes. So we visit and we go away. We visit and we go away. See, I'll give you a simple example. In Ramayana, Vishwamitra controlled his breath, performed immense tapasya for 1000 years. Eventually, he met a woman and changed.
Yes.
A daughter was born, and afterwards he realized, oh no, I got distracted. Right. So, if so, there are people who are able to, control their senses, move towards the divine path, and so on for a considerable amount of time. But they still have weaknesses that they haven't worked on properly. Knowing about rajas and tamas properly, and of course about sattva as well, helps us to develop a plan, then observe ourselves and create a customized plan and work over it. I cannot change myself in a single day, but I should keep working towards it. Day by day, in every way, I will get better and better and better. Eventually, I would reach a stage where, like how they said, right, recently, India is building an energy plant where it is achieving infinite energy generation capability through nuclear fusion.
Yes.
So that is
thorium.
Yeah, with the thorium reactor. Exactly. Thank you for that. So likewise, as we keep improving, we would realize that whatever we are doing now would help us to sustain this for 1000 years. Then the next day, whatever I'm doing, I would have improved myself so much that I would be able to sustain my sattva for 2000 years. In that way, it would increase very quickly. When it reaches infinity, that is the state of moksha. That's it.
Right. And one more question about controlling the senses. Sometimes I've heard this thought process of be a little kinder to your senses also. If you grab it by the scruff of its neck and control it too hard, a time will come when it'll kind of bounce back with vengeance. So that requires basically practice, isn't it? You kind of gradually ease into it rather than just abruptly force yourself to not give in completely. Is that a good line of thought?
Absolutely. So the trick is to focus on sattva rather than trying to control rajas and tamas. Vishwamitra was doing the latter. That is why he failed. When you focus on sattva, you are automatically removing rajas and tamas. I'll give you a simple example. There is something called the lean startup strategy for companies that are newly founded, right? Many of them create this strategy. They just give a canvas. It has certain questions. They have to answer it in a specific way. So like about a decade ago, I attended this lecture about the lean startup strategy. They were explaining about it. And then one businessman stood up and asked, one gentleman, he asked, but you are not having these kinds of considerations here. You have just given us 7 to 10 questions, whatever, I don't remember anymore. But what about that? What about something else? He is asking. And then came the beautiful answer. We have not listed them because they automatically get solved. They automatically get taken care of when you answer these. You answer these, you do it repeatedly, periodically, and you take action based on it. Your other questions would automatically get answered. Your other problems would automatically get solved. In the exact same way, rather than trying to control ourselves, I'm having desire, but I should control it. I'm having desire, but I should control it. No, have the right desire. Rather than desiring something bad and then desiring to control that bad desire, desire the right thing. Simple.
So, how does one know what the right thing is in this context of desire?
That is where, so exactly. So, that is where we have dharma. There are 4 sources of dharma. Vedo khilo dharma moolam, I said, right, during the lecture. The entirety of the Veda is a source of dharma. Smriti Shilecha Tadvidam. The great sages, great saints, they came, they explained the Vedas. Therefore, we got more scriptures, Ramayana, Mahabharata, this, that. We got a lot. Through all of them, we can learn about dharma. But is that all? No. Acharashchaiva sadhunam. You look at sadhus, people who are of good character, saintly people. It is not that only Vasishtha and Vishwamitra were saints, right? We have saints today as well. We have great saintly people roaming the world in the 19th century, 18th century. During the British era also, we had great saints.
Yes.
So, saints are there. You look at them, you look at how they behave. That would also teach you dharma. And finally, Atmanas tushti revacha. Atmanas tushti means you ask your own conscience. Ask your own conscience, is this right? Is this where I should really be going? Of course, the first few times you ask, it might actually give you the wrong answer. But as you keep asking, you develop a habit and keep asking. Eventually, it will start telling you, no, it is actually not the best. It is great. It feels really great, but it is not the best. Maybe there is something else that you should be doing. So, these are the 4 ways by which you can learn dharma. When you learn dharma, dharma will tell you that which is righteous. And that which is righteous will sustain everything. It would sustain you. It would sustain your sattva. It would sustain your path towards moksha. And it would give you a behavior that would sustain, that would help to sustain the entire society.
Thank you, Guruji. So that really, for me, it communicates one thing, that it all really starts with the honesty of the sankalpa. How strong is a sankalpa to be dharmic? We start with that and we keep working on that, and dharma will reveal itself, and then we practice it, and then it strengthens us.
Definitely. See, Arjuna said, yes, I need the will, but then Krishna, what is this? I started with a will, but my willpower is not so strong. How do I then work on the willpower? Then Krishna said, yes, asamshayam mahabaho mano durnigraham chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihiyate. So, yes, there is no doubt your mind will waver. You will start, you need great willpower, yes, but when you start, you will start with zero willpower. Then you will build some amount that might not stand the test of time. You will get distracted, you will get this, you will get that. But eventually, with practice and with steadfastness, you would be able to definitely improve yourself. That is the teaching of Krishna himself. I'm just a tiny person. I'm not as realized as Krishna. If he has said it is true, I know that. Vedo kilo dharma moolam, we know that. And Upanishad, which is called as the Shiras of the Veda, the very head of the Veda, Shruti Shiras, right? The nectar, the that summarizes this head of the Veda is Bhagavad Gita, right? Sarvopanishado gavo dogdha gopalanandana partho vatsa sudhir bhokta dugdham gita amritam mahat. So we say that if the Upanishads, which are the head of the Vedas, if they are the cows, then Bhagavad Gita is the milk. That milk is telling us that we need abhyasa and vairagya. That is what we should try to build.
Right. Thank you so much, Acharya Ji. While you describe yourself as a small portion of this divine energy, we are really grateful to have you here with us on behalf of School of Ancient Wisdom, of which you are also a part. We really thank you for spreading this wisdom through your practice. It's very clear and obvious that you really practice what you preach, which is one of the most powerful ways to learn for any one of us. So we've now come to the end of our satsang, and on this note of gratitude, let us complete with our Loka Samasta. Of course, I think Jasmine ji will have a prayer request for her brother Robert, as I would also for my house loan and so on. If anybody else has any request, any person they want us to pray for, any area of blessings for them, you can speak it out. People generally have the karmic lessons in the area of health, in the area of wealth, and in the area of relationships. So you can do so, or you think of them while we do the Loka Samasta. The power of collective prayer is immense, and I've practically experienced it. Also, let us send out gratitude to the world, to the divine, for allowing us to have such a wonderful satsang, for the wisdom and the higher consciousness that we received, which will also support us going forward in life. Please sit straight with your back, neck, and head aligned. And let us also pray that all our world leaders spread dharma, truth, and love in this great age of massive transformation happening worldwide. Please sit straight with your back, neck, and head aligned. Take a nice deep breath. And let go. Immerse yourself in that silence that connects all of us, the language of the soul. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Brahmarpanamastu. Once again, thank you all for being here. Till the same time, same place next week. Take care and God bless. Bye.